Significant weather developing across northern Australia. A tropical low taking shape off the Queensland coast. Severe thunderstorms forecast for multiple states. That's what we're retracking today. I've examined the latest data from the Bureau of Meteorology, gone through the models, and there's a lot to cover. This system has potential to impact a wide area over the coming days. Right now, conditions across the country are setting the stage for what's about to unfold. And it's worth understanding where we're restarting from. Up in Far North Queensland, it's been hot and humid all week. Cairns and Townsville have been copping it. Temperatures in the mid to high 30s with that build-up humidity we see this time of year. That moisture-laden air is critical to what happens next. Brisbane and southeast Queensland have been sweating through similar conditions. 38 degrees yesterday, arvo with humidity making it feel even worse. That warm, unstable air mass has been parked over the region for days. Compare that to what is happening down south. Tasmania saw frost this morning in some areas. Overnight, minimums below zero. That cold air is already in place across the southern states. The contrast is massive. And when you get that kind of temperature gradient across the continent, things start to happen. Now, let's talk about this developing tropical low, the system that got everyone's attention. As of the latest update from the Bureau, there is a monsoon trough positioned across the northern Coral Sea. Within that trough, we're seeing a concentrated area of low pressure developing. The exact position is roughly 500 kilometres northeast of Cairns, tracking slowly westward. The models have been consistent on this for the past 48 hours. Both Access and the European model show this low deepening over the next 24 to 36 hours. Central pressure currently sitting around 1,004 hectopascals. That is expected to drop to 998 by tomorrow evening. What does that mean in practical terms? This system is organising. It's not a cyclone yet. Let me be clear about that. But it has the potential to develop into one if conditions remain favourable. The ingredients are there. Sea surface temperatures across the Coral Sea are sitting at 29 to 30 degrees Celsius. That's well above the threshold needed for tropical development. Wind shear, which can tear these systems apart, is currently low. That is the concern. Low shear means this system can continue to organise without disruption. The forecast track shows the low moving west-southwest over the next 72 hours. That puts it on a path toward the North Queensland coast. Somewhere between Cooktown and Townsville is the likely landfall zone if this track holds. But I need to stress this. Tropical systems are notoriously difficult to predict with precision more than 2 to 3 days out. Even small changes in steering currents can shift the track significantly north or south. A 1 degree change in latitude means the difference between a direct hit on a populated area or the system staying offshore. What we can say with confidence is this: impacts are coming to North Queensland, regardless of whether this becomes a cyclone or remains a tropical low. Heavy rainfall is the primary concern. The monsoon trough itself is already producing widespread showers and storms across the region. As the low intensifies and moves closer to the coast, those rainfall rates increase dramatically. The Bureau's rainfall forecast shows totals of 150 to 250 millimetres possible across coastal North Queensland from Friday through Sunday. Some areas could see isolated falls up to 400 millimetres if thunderstorms train over the same locations repeatedly. That's a serious amount of rain in a short period. For context, Innisfail's average January rainfall is about 450 millimetres for the entire month. We could see that much fall in 2 to 3 days across parts of the wet tropics. The ground is already saturated from recent rain. River catchments are full. Flash flooding and riverine flooding are both likely. If you're in low-lying areas, flood-prone regions, or near creeks and rivers in North Queensland, you need to have your plan ready. Know your evacuation routes. Don't wait until it is too late. Winds are the second concern. Right now, the low is producing winds up to 50 to 60 kilometres per hour with stronger gusts in squalls. If this system intensifies to cyclone strength, we're re-looking at sustained winds of 90 to 120 kilometres per hour. Gusts could reach 150. That's enough to bring down trees, damage roofs, cut power. It's enough to make driving dangerous, particularly for high-sided vehicles. Coastal areas will see elevated seas and dangerous surf. Storm surge becomes a factor if this makes landfall during high tide as a cyclone. The timing looks like this. Today through tomorrow, the system continues to develop offshore. Showers and storms increasing across coastal North Queensland. Seas building, Friday into Saturday, the low moves closer to the coast. This is when the heaviest rain and strongest winds arrive. The exact timing depends on the System S speed of movement, which can vary. By Sunday, the low crosses the coast or moves into the Gulf of Carpentaria, depending on which track eventuates. Conditions gradually ease across the coastal strip, but heavy rain can persist inland as the moisture spreads west. Now, severe thunderstorms. This is a separate issue, but related to the same overall pattern. Ahead of the tropical low, we've got a very unstable air mass across eastern Queensland and into northern New South Wales. Hot temperatures, high moisture content, strong wind shear in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. That S, the recipe for severe thunderstorms. The Bureau has issued severe thunderstorm warnings for large parts of Queensland today and tomorrow. These aren't your typical afternoon storms. We're talking about supercells, damaging winds, large hail, intense rainfall, possible tornadoes. Southeast Queensland is in the firing line. Brisbane, Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast, the Darling Downs as well. These storms can develop quickly, often with limited warning. I know many of you are wondering if the storm season is winding down. Fair question. We late January. Typically, the peak severe weather season in southeast Queensland runs October through February, so we are near the tail end. But that doesn't mean it's over. Some of the most significant storms have occurred in late summer. You only have to go back to the Brisbane hailstorm in November 2021. Late season events can still pack a punch when the conditions align. And right now, they're realigning. If you are in an area under a severe thunderstorm warning, take it seriously. Move your car under cover if possible. Secure loose items around the property. Stay indoors during the storm. Don't go out spotting unless you know what you are doing and have an escape route. Large hail is a real possibility with these storms. We could see hail up to 5 centimetres diameter in the strongest cells. That S golf ball sized hail. It will damage vehicles, break windows, strip vegetation. If you hear a storm approaching and it sounds like a freight train, get away from windows immediately. Heavy rainfall with these storms can cause flash flooding even outside the tropical low S direct influence. Rainfall rates of 100 millimetres per hour have been observed in similar setups. Roads flood quickly. Urban drainage systems get overwhelmed. Never drive through flood water. If it's flooded, forget it. Let me talk about the western half of the continent briefly because there's another system developing there. Western Australia is tracking a tropical low off the Pilbara coast. This one S earlier in its development stage, but showing similar characteristics. Monsoon trough, warm water, low shear. The forecast has this system potentially intensifying as it moves toward the coast near Karatha or Port Hedland early next week. It's too early for specific details, but the pattern is there. If you in the Pilbara or Kimberley, keep an eye on the latest from the Bureau. The name being discussed for this system, if it reaches cyclone intensity, is Genesis. That would make it the first named cyclone of the season for the western region. The area isn't heavily populated, but there are mining operations, remote communities, infrastructure that need to prepare. Now, what about the rest of the country? Because not everyone is dealing with tropical systems and severe storms. Southern Australia is in a completely different pattern. A high pressure system is dominating across Victoria, South Australia and Tasmania. Clear skies, light winds, mild temperatures during the day. Melbourne has been sitting around the mid-20s, pleasant conditions. Hobart, similar, though cooler overnight, as we've discussed. Adelaide has had some of the best weather in the country this week. 24 degrees and sunny. Perth has been dry. 3 months now with very little rain. The dams are getting low. Gardens are struggling. This dry spell continues for at least another week before any chance of meaningful rain appears on the models. The long-range forecast shows a possible pattern change around early February with a series of fronts potentially bringing rain to the southwest. But that S still uncertain at this stage. Across New South Wales, outside the severe weather areas in the north, conditions have been warm and dry. Sydney S been waiting for decent rain. The catchments need it. This current pattern doesn't bring relief to the Sydney Basin. The rain stays north. Central Australia has been typical for this time of year. Hot days, warm nights, Alice Springs in the mid-30s. No significant weather events expected there over the next week. The Riverina and inland New South Wales have been warm but not extreme. The real heat has been reserved for Queensland and the north. Let me address fire danger because with the heat and dry conditions in some areas, it's worth mentioning. Total fire bans are in place for several districts across Queensland today due to the combination of heat, low humidity and strong winds. Once these thunderstorms move through, the fire danger drops. But in the lead up, it elevated. Western Australia faces ongoing fire risk with the extended dry period. Fire danger ratings are at severe to extreme across parts of the southwest and inland. If you in a bushfire-prone area, make sure your plan is current. Know your trigger to leave. The southern states have lower fire danger currently due to recent rain and milder conditions. Tasmania S had good rainfall over the past month. Victoria has had some patchy rain. It's not a major concern at the moment in those regions. Now, practical advice for those in the impact zones. If you in North Queensland, particularly coastal areas from Cooktown to Townsville, here's what you need to do. Check the Bureau of Meteorology website at least twice daily for updates on the tropical low. These systems can change quickly. The forecast tonight might be different from this morning. Stock up on essentials now. Don tea, wait until Friday when everyone else is panic buying. Water, non-perishable food, batteries, torches, first aid kit. Make sure you have enough for at least 3 days. Charge your devices. Have a battery pack ready. Power outages are likely if this system intensifies. Secure your property. Bring in loose items from the yard. Outdoor furniture, trampolines, potted plants, anything that can become a missile in strong winds needs to be secured or brought inside. If you in a caravan or temporary structure, relocate to solid shelter before the system arrives. Caravans are not safe in cyclonic winds. Know your neighbours. Check on elderly mates, people living alone, anyone who might need assistance. Community matters in these situations. For those in southeast Queensland dealing with severe thunderstorms, your preparation is different but equally important. If you have a garage, use it. Hail damage to vehicles is expensive and preventable. Clear your gutters. Blocked gutters lead to roof leaks when heavy rain hits. Trim trees near your house if there are dead branches. Strong winds will bring them down. Have a plan for pets. They get stressed during storms. Bring them inside. Create a safe space for them. If you lose power, know how to safely reset your system. Don't touch downed power lines. Stay well clear and report them to emergency services. For everyone across the country, stay informed. Don T relies solely on social media for your weather information. Use official sources. The Bureau of Meteorology, your state emergency service, local ABC radio. And here is something important that often gets overlooked. Mental health during severe weather events. These situations are stressful. The waiting, the uncertainty, the noise of storms, the aftermath. It's normal to feel anxious. Check in with yourself, check in with your family, talk about what you're feeling. If you've been through Cyclone Yasi, Cyclone Larry, or any of the other major events over the years, you know what I'm talking about. The physical preparation is one thing. The mental side matters too. Let's talk about what happens after the system passes, because that assess when different challenges emerge. If this tropical low does intensify and cross the coast as a cyclone, the immediate aftermath will be dangerous. Downed power lines, damaged buildings, flooded roads, debris everywhere. Don T goes sightseeing. Emergency services need clear roads to reach people who need help. You driving around to look at damage makes their job harder. Don T assume the danger is over when the wind stops. Storm surge can persist for hours after landfall. Floodwaters take days to recede. Some of the most dangerous moments come after the system has passed, when people let their guard down. If you need to use a generator, use it safely. Never run a generator indoors or in an enclosed space. Carbon monoxide kills. Document damage for insurance purposes. Take photos. Keep receipts for emergency supplies. It might seem unimportant in in the moment, but it matters later. Now let's look at the longer range pattern, because some of you are thinking beyond this immediate event. The models are showing the monsoon trough remaining active across northern Australia for at least the next 2 weeks. That means the potential for further tropical lows, further heavy rain, further severe weather across the north. We in the peak of the wet season for the top end and North Queensland. This is when these systems develop. It S normal. But normal doesn't mean insignificant. The monsoon activity looks above average for late January into early February based on the current pattern. That S good news for areas needing rain. It S concerning news for areas already saturated. Southern Australia continues under the influence of high pressure through early February. That means the dry pattern persists for Perth and southwestern WA. The mild, settled weather continues for Melbourne and Adelaide. There are hints of a pattern change around mid-February, with the models suggesting a trough may develop across the southeast, potentially bringing a cooler change and some rain. But we're talking 3 to 4 weeks out. Take that with appropriate uncertainty. Climate drivers are playing a role in this pattern. We're in a neutral ENSO phase. No El Nino, no La Nina. The Indian Ocean dipole is neutral as well. The southern annular mode has been predominantly positive, which tends to push rain-bearing systems further north. That S consistent with what we're seeing. I want to address something I've seen discussed online. Comparisons to Cyclone Yasi. Yasi crossed the coast near Mission Beach in February 2011 as a Category 5 system. Winds up to 285 kilometres per hour. It was one of the most powerful cyclones to hit Queensland. The current system, even if it intensifies, is not forecast to reach those extremes. The models are suggesting Category 1, possibly Category 2, if everything aligns. That S still serious. That still causes damage. But at S, not Yasi, making direct comparisons to worst-case historical events can be unhelpful. It either causes unnecessary panic or leads people to dismiss the current threat because it's not as bad as they remember. Every system is different. Every system deserves respect based on its own characteristics. What we can learn from events like Yasi is preparation saves lives. The warning system worked. People evacuated. Despite the massive damage, loss of life was minimal because people took it seriously. That S the lesson. Not that every system will be that severe, but that preparation and taking warning seriously makes a difference. Some technical details for those interested in the meteorology. The sea surface temperature anomaly across the Coral Sea is running about 1 degree above average. That S significant. Warmer water provides more energy for tropical development. The Madden-Julian oscillation is currently in a phase that favours tropical cyclone development in the Australian region. We're likely to see enhanced monsoon activity through early February as a result. Upper level divergence over the developing low is strong, which aids in the upward motion needed for intensification. The outflow channels are well established, particularly to the southeast of the system. Wind shear, as I mentioned earlier, is low. Specifically, we're looking at around 10 to 15 knots of shear in the layer between the surface and 10 kilometres altitude. Anything below 20 knots is considered favourable for tropical development. The one factor working against rapid intensification is dry air to the south and west of the system. If that dry air gets entrained into the circulation, it could disrupt development. The models show this dry air remaining at bay for now, but it is something to watch. For the severe thunderstorms, we are looking at Cape values, that S convective available potential energy exceeding 3,000 joules per kilogram across southeast Queensland. That S highly unstable. Combine that with strong speed and directional wind shear and you get rotating storms, supercells. The lifted index is sitting at -6 to -8 across the region. Anything below -4 indicates strong instability. The atmosphere wants to convect. It's going to convect. The question is just where and when. The boundary layer is moisture rich with dew points in the low 20s. That is the fuel. When you add surface heating during the afternoon, you get explosive development. I've been asked about the pronunciation of some locations. Cape Leveque, for instance, it S French. The last part is pronounced like Veek, not Vec. I appreciate the correction. Getting place names right matters, especially when you are providing information to people who live there. Similarly, Aurukun is pronounced with the emphasis on the second syllable. These details matter. I am always learning, always trying to improve. Let me summarise where we re-at because I've covered a lot of ground. Tropical low developing off North Queensland, potential to intensify to cyclone strength, heavy rain and strong winds forecast for coastal North Queensland Friday through Sunday. Flooding likely, severe thunderstorms across eastern Queensland and northern New South Wales today and tomorrow. Damaging winds, large hail, intense rain possible. Southeast Queensland in the firing line. Another tropical low developing off the Western Australia coast. Early stages, but worth monitoring. Potential impacts to the Pilbara early next week. Southern states under high pressure. Mild settled weather continuing. Perth remaining dry with no significant rain forecast short term. The key message is this. If you in an area under warning, prepare now. Don T, wait. Don T, assume it one T affect you. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. If you are not in an affected area, stay informed, but Don T, panic. The country S big. Not everyone S dealing with the same weather. Check the Bureau of Meteorology for the latest updates. They read the official source. They have the resources, the expertise, the responsibility. Trust their information and look after each other. That's what gets us through these events. Not just the physical preparation, but the community, the looking out for your mates, the offering help when it is needed. I'll be monitoring this situation closely. If there are significant developments, there will be updates. This is a dynamic situation. What S true this morning might change by this arvo. Stay safe, be prepared, and don't take unnecessary risks. No photo is worth your life. No viral video is worth putting yourself in danger. The weather's going to do what it's going to do. Our